welcome to the Real Estate Finder podcast. I'm Matthew Maschler, real estate broker with the Signature Real Estate Companies here in the great state of Florida. And with me is one of my oldest and best friends, Stuart Schreck. Hey, Stuart, how are you?
Hey, Matt. I'm doing okay. How are you?
I'm doing great. I put out the call that I needed someone to join me on a podcast, and Stuart chimed in. So thank you so much for helping me out on the podcast.
No problem.
So something I was thinking about talking about, which you know something about, I don't know as much, is moving for work. Stuart and I grew up together in Staten Island, went to Portman High School, and Stuart got a job at DC Comics, which was owned by AOL Time Warner, which was based in New York City. And Stuart had a great job in a shiny office. And what was it, 52nd Street?
53rd.
53rd Street.
and Broadway.
And then they built this beautiful AOL Time Warner building, and people thought they were moving. But DC Comics was competing with Marvel Comics, and Marvel was starting their movies. And I don't know, as a fan and not as an industry insider, DC made the decision that, or AOL Time Warner made the decision that the comic books, DC Comics, should be headquartered in California, in Hollywood, to make
closer to the studio. Yep, that's absolutely right.
Right. So correct me if I'm wrong, Stuart. They said something to you. This is how I remembered it.
Yep.
We're moving to California. Everybody has their jobs, but their jobs are now in California.
Right. And they also gave us 18 months to move.
Oh,
they told us we're moving in 18 months.
In 18 months.
If you want to come, your job is going to be there. There was the few people that they were like, oh, whoa, not so fast, but pretty much practically everybody got to go or got offered.
Right. All right. So you're working. You've been working there for years, and
at
then
that point, 15 years.
You're working there for 15 years, but everyone in the company, right? Yeah. All right. For the next year and a half, you're still working as normal, and then
and
then you're working. But
they gave us a deadline when you made your decision. Either you were staying with the company or you were leaving the company. And if you were staying, you kept working, and they started offering you, or they set everything up in motion where they offered the services to get you out to California. We actually had like lunch and learns, which were just like fun meetings. Although New Yorkers' mindset of California is definitely different than what is actually California. But and then they
a little bit.
People were really concerned about the spiders, the black widows, and the brown recluses, and everything. And there were people who lived in California, in LA, and they're like, I haven't seen, what are you talking about? Calm down. It's not that bad. You don't see black widows all the time. You don't see, brown recluse. I
don't know that I ever heard that about California.
Yeah, no, I had this weird, you wind up, you get the rundown that the spiders in LA are deadly. And meanwhile, in New York, I was like, oh, you see a spider. It's cool. It's a spider. It's going to kill the other bugs. It's going to totally leave you alone. There was little things like that, like the earthquakes. Everyone was neurotic about the earthquakes. Everyone was neurotic about, just the drought, just any little thing that was in LA that was bad, were neurotic about. But just that's typical anywhere else in the country. You hear something.
We get that in Florida a lot. I get a lot of people who call me up with questions, and I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'll turn on the news.
Right. So I don't know. Do you want to put me back on track?
Yeah. But you did say that they took the time out to tell a couple people that their jobs would not be in California.
I think in any company, you take the opportunity to go, maybe you're not coming. And
did those people have the 18 months, or were they pretty much let go?
They had the 18 months.
Yeah.
Unless they decided to leave. And then, if you stayed to the end, you got certain benefits. If you quit before the 18 months, before the last day, then you kind of forfeited some benefits because you quit a job and you moved on to a different scenario.
If someone didn't want to move, were they like bought out or given a package or?
So yeah, I mean, if you didn't want to move, you kind of, I think they just let you wrap up like you were being laid off and you were given a package.
Mhm.
People were given packages for not going. If I believe I can't be quoted on that, but I know for me going, they were offering. I got a promotion in the middle of that. I was told I was valuable, and they gave me a little bonus. And then the services that they provided to everyone was spectacular. If you're going to get moved across the country, get moved across the country by a international corporation, because
By big by big
time
company.
at the time, Warner Brothers, their HR person or their moving person was very good, and they were really thinking about the employees who had to kind of sacrifice their lives or their lifestyles to move. Because I used to say that folks couldn't leave. They really, you really understand what roots are when
Yeah,
you say, hey, I'm married, my wife or partner or husband has this great job, they make more than me, my kids are in school, special needs, something that you can't get them out, or don't want to, your
yeah,
parents are elderly and you take care of them or whatever. There's many different reasons why someone just goes, you know what, I can't, I just
yeah.
can't.
And being from, New York and New Jersey originally, and you hear people that I know people up there that, they'd love to move to Florida, but they can't for all of those reasons.
Right.
Would you say most people, some people did the move from New York to
I
LA?
think I think we I think it was about half, I
Hmm.
think. I know that it was interesting when we got to California, and I'll jump ahead. Like there were three groups of people that were made up the company. So maybe it was a third that left, but it was the folks from New York, the folks from Wildstorm, which was a, a division of DC Comics, a separate company that was bought by DC Company. Whole backstory there, but and then the
Where,
new hires.
where were they based out of?
They were in La Jolla, down
San Diego.
down close to San Diego. So they also moved up. So
Mhm.
that's a smaller trip, a smaller move, and you still accessible to people that you were with, but it's still a bit. Still a 3 hour move, and
Mhm.
going from San Diego to LA is definitely a different
Yeah,
lifestyle.
all those same reasons why you can't move across the country is why you can't move across the state. And also,
Absolutely.
San Diego's amazing. I love San Diego.
San Diego has used to, it might have started to get a little warmer, but it used to be the perfect weather for human beings. It
Yeah,
was always just pleasant. And I got to go to San Diego for Comic-Con every year practically since 2002 through 2020, or actually right through to now, except for the pandemic years. And
yeah. I can make a list of all the things. It's a long list of all the things that makes Stewart Trek cool. But I think the fact that you regularly attend Comic Con is like one of the coolest things about you.
Thank you. Well, I work it, and that's, it is
Oh, that's
definitely
fun.
the mountain you have to climb, because you
Yeah,
can't go around, you can't go through it. You have to make that trek up the hill. But you got to go to Comic Con,
yeah, yeah. You got me and Wendy in one year.
yeah, and
It's so much.
we snuck you in on good passes, so you got to see it before people came in, on
Yes,
exhibitor badges.
yes.
So you got to see it when there was no one there, and that was a treat. I think we even saw them doing a news, like a news segment in one
There
of
were
the
a few.
booths with wrestlers.
Yeah, with wrestlers, and then I left before um before the Undertaker showed up, and I left before that
Right,
happened.
right. No, that was a good year. So the Warner Brothers moved us out to California, and they really did a nice job. They paid for everything. They really did a great. Um, they treated us very well, getting us out to California, to the point where they helped with, breaking leases if you rented, were paying closing costs, on both selling a place in the Northeast and buying a place in LA. They helped, they offered you a trip out here to kind of do a house hunting. They
Uh-huh.
offered you temporary housing if you needed it while you looked. They paid, they
Amazing.
really went above and beyond.
That's amazing. Um, and moving truck and all that.
No, moving truck, the whole shebang.
I
With
heard you got
the
something that
companies,
nobody else got. Like you were treated a little bit extra special. No?
what
Don't
were you
remember.
referring to? I mean, they did treat us very well. They treated
No,
us
but
pretty
no, but
white.
you. I heard specifically that you got a certain expense or amount of money that other people didn't get, if I remember correctly.
I mean, they paid for rent for and mortgage for a
Mm.
couple of months. Like they
Yeah.
really treated us well. I'm trying to remember if there was
And when
anything
you got, so when you got,
special.
and then you had to list you owned your apartment in Brooklyn. You had to sell that,
Yeah, I had a co-op in Brooklyn. I sold that and
and then you
was
had to
able,
buy a place in California.
yeah, which is
How's
all
buying?
expensive. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah. How's the place in California? Have you made good money in there in the 15 years you've been out there?
Uh, yeah, I mean, what I bought it for and what it's worth now is significant.
I don't think
You,
I've ever been there. Have I been there?
you haven't, you
Oh,
haven't.
and I've been to LA 2 or 3 times.
Yeah. Well, we were on the other side of the hill,
Yeah,
WrestleMania.
and the hill was on fire.
Probably, it often is.
So you talk about spiders, and I'm thinking about fires. Are there still fires going on in California?
There's the occasional fire, yeah,
Yeah.
but usually it's not. I mean, at the beginning of the year, we had major fires. That was very bad, very
Do you-
bad. But we're
we
at the beginning of fire season.
we had people moving. We had people moving to Florida from California after
Sure.
COVID and the fires, and we never had people. I've never seen people move from California. Did you notice a lot of people move out of California after the COVID and the fires?
Um, well, a lot of homes were destroyed. A lot of
Mm,
people were displaced, so it makes sense that they left. I mean, the fires were on the along the coast, further closer to the coast and further away from me. Um, so the houses that were obviously destroyed were closer to the water. So I'm a bit
uh-huh.
further from that,
All right, all right.
but
And
definitely left.
mhm. um, can we talk about current housing searches, or are we not going
So so yeah, I'm packing up and I got a new job,
there? Mm.
and I'm going up to Portland. So
Portland, Oregon.
yeah, so I'm working for a company not that they are going to treat me right.
So you're not
Um,
this time. You're not being moved. You've accepted a job offer at a new company,
right. Well,
and
they
and
they did offer they're offering to pay for the move, but it's a little
right. Well,
less.
I'm not. What I'm saying is, it's not like you're. It's not the same situation where the company's saying, "Okay, now we're moving to Portland." This is just you. You applied for a job and got a job
Yes.
offer in Portland, Oregon, and now have to move.
Yes.
So
Yes.
let's talk about the difference between those two moves. Are they paying your moving expenses?
Yes. Yes.
Nice. Did
Good.
they did they make could you choose your own real estate agent in Portland, or did they encourage you to use one of theirs?
No, everything is on my own.
Everything was on your own. Mhm,
So definitely a different scenario than the first move.
mhm,
Uh, I'm doing the legwork. I was given, I met people there, and I was given a realtor who recommended a realtor who had worked with a lot of people at that company. So I felt comfortable using them, but I've been setting everything up and doing everything myself.
uh-huh. Do you know where? Like, have you been to Portland before?
Once for an event,
Uh-huh.
you
I went.
know,
I went once. I really liked it.
yeah, it was pretty cool. It was really cool. Um, I'm looking forward to the nicer weather or the less brutal heat in
Uh-huh.
in Portland, because the flaming ball of fire in the sky is really kind of a lot. It was well into the 90s today. It was a bit
Is
much.
that one of the reasons why you didn't want to move down to Palm Beach County, Boca Raton?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's too humid there.
I was trying to get Stuart to come down to Florida and find a job he could telecommute to, but no, that wasn't going to happen. So yeah, Portland's about as far from here as we can possibly get. The other thing, interesting thing about Portland is there is a state income tax, probably lower than California, but you still have to pay the state income tax. But there's no sales tax, so shopping in Portland is always is always a good thing. When I went to Portland, I heard a term I never heard before called retail tourism, that people would go on vacation to Oregon, or specifically Portland. And I was in one of the malls that had some high-end brands that didn't seem to fit the vibe in Portland. But they were saying that people would come in from Seattle and California to do their shopping in Portland, and that way they could save on the sales tax.
Right.
So
Right.
that's
That makes. I'm looking forward to that.
yeah,
I believe. I mean, I believe the cost of living in Portland is a little bit better than a
probably.
little bit cheaper than LA.
Uh-huh.
So I'm looking. That's always a plus, and I know what I'm going to be able to sell my condo for here is going to get me a lot more there.
Do you think you're going to buy, or do you think you're going to rent for the
Well,
first year?
I'm gonna rent short term for 3 months, but I'm gonna buy.
Yeah.
I know how I'm wired. I know what I want.
Uh-huh.
I know what I want. I know what I need. I know what I want. I know what I'm
But
flexible
as far
on.
as neighborhoods, like do you go into the city, into downtown? I mean, there's lots of different neighborhoods to choose from.
Yeah, I mean, I know there's a little bit more suburban areas.
Hmm.
It seems quiet. I don't mind driving. I mean, I drive in LA, which is
Yeah.
so, and everything's relatively close. So someone keeps saying to me, well, if you you want to live here, if you want to walk down the block and get a cup of coffee, and I'm like, I can drive for a cup of coffee also if I need to, if I'm driving for 5 minutes or 10 minutes.
I will give you this piece of advice about Portland.
Okay.
Always specify Oregon, because when I went to Portland 2 years ago with Lindsay,
Right.
I booked my flight, but I booked my car rental in Portland, Maine.
It's funny.
And I got to the airport and I looked at how far it would be to get from the baggage claim to the rental car terminal, and it was thousands of miles away.
Right. I think someone told me that they call the city PDX.
PDX is the abbreviation for the airport.
Right. I'm like, isn't that the abbreviation for the airport? And they're like, no, it is, but people call the whole city PDX.
The city's nickname is PDX. It was so confusing and weird to me.
Right. But she literally said to differentiate from Maine, Maine, Portland. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Do you know the next time WWE will be in Portland?
In Portland, no. I do know that WWE is going to be Survivor Series in San Diego.
Are you going to that?
As of right now, I have no plans to be there.
Yeah, I love San Diego, but I liked Survivor Series when it was the week before Thanksgiving. Now that it's Thanksgiving weekend,
it
difficult for me to get out there? That's been the last few years.
Yeah, I mean, we got to see War Games while it was in developmental. So once it got signed to the main roster, we haven't seen those.
I will tell you, November 16th. The 502s are playing in Portland, Oregon.
Oh, cool.
They're playing in Portland, Maine on when is it? On September 28th. But they're playing Eugene, Washington. But then earlier in the tour, I don't know how far you are from Eugene, Washington. Eugene, Oregon. Eugene, Oregon, November 12th. Vancouver, and then Seattle, and then Portland, Oregon. So November 16th. I don't know if I can get out there for that, though. That'd be fun. You should get your tickets. I'm a big fan of the 502s.
It's down the 5.
Down to 5.
Down the 5.
Uh-huh.
And from Portland, Oregon, it looks like it's about 2 hours.
Oh, cool.
About 2 hours. So
yeah,
someone said to me, "Oh, I don't know. You going to Seattle? You going to Portland?" I'm like, Portland. Seattle is a few hours away.
It's a different city completely.
Different city completely.
Hold
And
on.
it's state.
Hold on. Was it, in the background in the recording studio out in the waiting room, because we got to go pick up Lindsay from the airport in a couple of minutes. There's Wendy's here. Hold on. Hey, Wendy.
Yes.
Should I pick up 2 tickets to the 502s in Portland? Visit my friend?
November 16th?
November
Absolutely
16th?
not,
No.
because you're going to be in Madrid for the Dolphins game.
I'll be in Madrid for the Dolphins game. Okay. All right. All right. Well, hey, should I pick up 1 ticket for Stuart?
No.
All right. Stuart, you're on your own.
All good. I don't know.
Anyway, if any of our listeners are out there or live in Portland, Oregon, and have any advice about good neighborhoods or where to eat or live in Portland, Oregon, want to reach out to Stuart, you can do that through me. And if you are available on November 16th and you're not in Spain, please check out the 502s. It's going to be a good show.
Awesome.
All right. Hey, Stuart, thanks for joining me on the Real Estate Finder podcast. You've never been on the Real Estate Finder podcast before, right?
I haven't. Have
you been on Matthew Mania podcast?
I was live in studio for Matthew Mania.
Yeah.
Way back in the beginning.
Yeah. Now with COVID, after COVID, we do it this way. But so thank you for joining me on the Real Estate Finder podcast. I will talk to you soon. And everybody, if you're looking for a realtor in Florida, feel free to reach out to me, my team of agents. We cover the entire state. We do have a network through the whole country. I could have put Stuart in touch with a good agent in Portland, but he went with a coworker's recommendation, which is very, very, very appropriate.
The future looks bright and the storms pass by. The sky's dark blue and it's almost that time. Light shows, cameras flash when I pass. Living in the moment, forget about the past. They save the best for last. Matthew Mania, we about to make a splash. Life is a marathon full of sharp turns. Gotta keep pace while the hands on the clock turns. High stakes, 5-star real estate. I run a show, you can tell the boss in the place. Electricity, energy, it vibrates. I'm always on time even if I'm late. I make dreams come true, living my life, hope the same for you. Success in my sights, got a real clear view. If you don't know the time, I'll give you a clue. You know what time, you know what time, you know what time it is. Yeah. You know what time, you know what time, you know what time it is. You know what time, you know what time, you know what time it is. You know what time, you know what time, you know what time it is. You know what time it is. You know whose time it is. You know what time it is. Matthew Mania, the time is his. You know what time it is. You know whose time it is. You know what time it is. Matthew Mania, the time is his. Yeah, got him shook, scared, can't look. We're not afraid of the